You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Unreal. And for me, you know, in 2006, when he was just a embarrassment in New York, nobody respected him in any way. Forbes never would put him on the richest people list because they couldn't verify his income because he was often broke. He's a con man, period. And if you grew up in New York like I did, you knew that. But he got on that show, and Mark Burnett, the producer, taught him that if you tell a lie long enough on TV, people will believe it, just how they do Fox News. That's not a news station, that's an entertainment station. And they were fined millions of dollars for lying to the American public.
Donald Trump once stood on a debate stage and said, "Only Rosie O'Donnell." That remark wasn't just an insult. It marked the start of a feud that has lasted for nearly 2 decades. For years, Rosie stayed mostly silent. But now, she is speaking out. And this time, she isn't joking. On live television, Rosie called Trump a fraud, a con artist, and one of the most dangerous liars to ever become president. She calmly explained why.
I don't understand how he's able to get away with the things he gets away with. Breaking the law, the emoluments clause, taking bribes, blackmailing people. He's a criminal con man. And if you grew up in New York, as I did, you knew this your whole life. We watched his planes get repossessed off the runway at LaGuardia. We watched him try to sell steaks and cologne in a fake university, steal money from charities that his family can't even have a charity anymore in New York City, in the New York State, because they had stolen money from kids' cancer charities. There's no way you can look at the facts about this man and believe in him still. You have to have willful blindness.
Breaking down his fake image and exposing the secrets he allegedly tried to hide. Rosie said this isn't about revenge, it's about truth. And now, the empire of lies built by Trump appears to be shaking. Rosie claimed America was sold a lie. Millions believed Trump was a billionaire businessman, but according to her, the reality is different.
They sold him as America's biggest successful businessman, and he had been bankrupt 6 times. And he had lots of charges of sexual abuse against him. And he is, known for lying and for corruption. And he had a charity that he and his family now can never do a charity again in New York because they stole money from children who had cancer.
And this is all fact.
All you need to find out these facts is a computer, people. I am not an investigative journalist. I simply lived there my whole life. And in New York, where he grew up as well, we're around the same age. I'm 63, he's 107. Is that what he is?
He went bankrupt 6 times, faced multiple sexual abuse allegations, and was involved in corruption. Rosie reminded viewers that Trump and his family stole money from a charity for children with cancer, which is why they are banned from running charities in New York. All of this, she said, is public record. Rosie explained how Trump allegedly created a fake image of wealth and power. He was supported by his father's money, and Forbes reportedly refused to include him on the richest list because they could not verify his fortune. He's not a builder. He's a borrower. He's not a leader. He's a performer, Rosie said. And the worst part? America believed it. In 2006, Rosie said Trump was seen as a joke in New York. Nobody respected him. Then came The Apprentice. That show changed everything, but not because Trump was brilliant. Rosie alleged that the success came from TV editing and lies. She claimed producer Mark Burnett taught Trump that if a lie is repeated on TV long enough, people will believe it. Rosie said The Apprentice wasn't real business. It was scripted. Trump wasn't running a real boardroom. He was playing a role. The networks didn't just air the lie, they sold it. Rosie called this psychological warfare, turning voters into viewers and corruption into entertainment. And it worked. The man who pretended to be a billionaire on television was given real power.
Can you explain to me, though, I cannot believe that every Republican congressman or woman, every Republican senator is stupid.
Well, they're not stupid, but they're definitely afraid of him. People in America are afraid of him. They're afraid to stand up to him, against him, because, and when I did on The View in 2006, I remember Joy Behar saying, "You're not going to say that out there," because he had a press conference right before we were live, where he had a teenager, Tara O'Connor, who was Miss Teen USA. She had kissed a girl in the village, and they took a picture and put it on all the newspapers. And he made her do a press conference where she apologized. And it looked to me like a pimp and a prostitute. And I said that on the air, and then I proceeded to list facts, not hyperbole, just facts about who he was and what he did. Bankrupt all these times, money from his father, not a self-made man, can't quantify his riches on Forbes magazine. I just said facts, and you would think that I called his mother a whore. He went insane. And for 20 years, he's been using me as a punching bag. Even at the debate, when he was first running, when the newscaster said, "You call women pigs and gross and disgusting and horrible," and he said, "No, only Rosie O'Donnell."
She also accused Trump of hypocrisy. Rosie pointed to a press event where Trump made a teenage girl apologize for kissing another girl, while his own record of sexual misconduct was ignored. "When the predator plays priest, you know the system is broken," she said. Rosie mentioned a book called Duty to Warn, written by psychiatrists, which warned that Trump was a narcissist and mentally unfit. She said, "He's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States. His cruelty knows no limits. When he's angry and embarrassed, he completely loses control." For Rosie, this wasn't just politics, it was personal. When Trump won the 2016 election, she went into a severe depression. For many survivors of abuse, Trump wasn't just a politician, he was a trigger. Rosie described it as national PTSD. She warned that Trump's power is not strength, it's a threat. If he comes back, millions could suffer again in silence and fear. She accused Republican senators of staying silent, not out of stupidity, but fear. As long as they protect him, corruption becomes normal. If Americans don't recognize this as complicity, she warned, democracy could collapse. Rosie even left the United States before Trump's 2024 inauguration. She said she read about Project 2025 and decided to leave. For over 20 years, Trump used her as a punchline.
Of him, I read Project 2025. That was pretty much the foundation of what he wanted to do, and I said, I have to get out of here. And I left before the inauguration on purpose, because for 20 years he's been using me as a punchline in all of his jokes. And he's a very unbalanced individual, and it's very dangerous to be in his target range. And for 4 years when he was in last time, it was not a good time for me. And I have a little child who's 12 who has autism, and I have to be on top of my game. I have to be mentally and emotionally there and present. And I didn't want to be distracted by him or have him play such a major role in my reality. So I said, where could I go? And this was the only choice for me. Yeah. And we've had really the most amazing welcome. It's the most beautiful place, and my daughter said, I like it better here than America.
Every time he needed attention, he attacked her. Speaking out cost her a lot. Death threats, online abuse, and even threats to her citizenship. But Rosie didn't back down then, and she isn't backing down now. Rosie said Trump proves her right every day through his posts on his failing Truth Social platform. She called him a grifter, a scammer, and compared him to a preacher selling lies to people who still believed The Apprentice was real. Rosie also claimed that Mark Burnett has tapes of Trump using racial slurs and making degrading comments to women, but he refuses to release them. She called that silence dangerous because, as she said, democracy itself is on trial. This isn't just about Rosie. It's about how an allegedly narcissistic man used media power, bullied critics, and rose to the highest office. Rosie said Trump didn't build his wealth through brilliance. It came from his father's millions, unpaid contractors, scams, and lawsuits. She laid out the frauds, lies, and bankruptcies. Yet somehow, she became the villain, not Trump. Why? because America preferred fantasy over facts. Rosie shared the night that broke her. Election night, November 8th, 2016. When Trump won, she felt like the ground disappeared. It wasn't just political loss. It was personal betrayal. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't believe it. To cope, she even got tattoos, including one of Robert Mueller. But she warned, if 2025 brings the same nightmare, the damage could be permanent. Rosie also questioned why the election system allowed this to happen. She pointed out that Kamala Harris filled stadiums while Trump struggled with crowds. Yet, he still won. She said this needs to be investigated, not as conspiracy, but to protect democracy. Rosie also described Trump's current condition, not just unfit, but unwell. She mentioned his swollen ankles, blotchy skin, and erratic behavior as signs of decline. But the real danger, she said, is in his mind. Trump sees himself as a superhero in fan art, with a cape and glowing eyes. Behind the spray tan and filters, Rosie claimed, is a man unraveling. A man who can't separate truth from fantasy. Trump reignited the feud by threatening to take Rosie's citizenship.
President Trump has ignited a new war with Rosie O'Donnell. He says he's thinking of revoking her U.S. citizenship. Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interest of our great country. I am giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship, he wrote on Truth Social.
He posted on Truth Social, Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interest of our great country. I'm considering taking away her citizenship. At an Air Force base, he called her a mess.
I don't know about Rosie. I watch Rosie. Rosie's a mess. She's a mess. But she left our country, which is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Rosie, now in Ireland, responded, Trump has always hated that I see him for who he is. A criminal, a con man, a liar who's out to harm our nation for his own gain.
I know he can't do that, but the Supreme Court has given him unbridled powers, and who knows what he can and can't do.
Rosie said she didn't leave America. America left her. Watching Trump attack LGBTQ+ rights, mock minorities, and empower hate was suffocating. She called it emotional exile. And when citizens feel forced to leave their own country, something is broken beyond repair. She also accused the Supreme Court and Senate of alleged corruption. Rosie claimed they secretly voted not to release the Epstein files, and then ran from reporters like criminals. According to her, authoritarianism doesn't start with tanks. It starts with silence. She ended with a warning. Trump's comeback wouldn't be a campaign. It would be a collapse of law, truth, and decency. His playbook remains the same: distract, attack, deny. So what are your thoughts? Do you think Rosie is telling the complete truth? Was electing Trump the biggest mistake of the USA? Let me know your thoughts in the comment. That's all for the video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more such videos.